Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend is starting off well. It is January the 18th, 2025, and we are live down here at News Talk 830 WCCO every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Scott Wolmering, myself, Ryan O'Neill, Mike Overson with Luminate Home Loans. We are here again from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Excited today. We've got Mr. Steve Groen in studio with us as well, Standard Water. Scott, again, people can join us up 612-294-6949 by phone or text, 612-294-6949. Scott, good morning to you there, buddy.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan says, it's the Minnesota Real Estate Show, and we do this every Saturday, starting here in just a little bit. Love your questions or comments on Facebook. You can just type them in. We'll handle them as they come. Or if you're brave enough to go on air, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us live.
Yeah, we happy to be here. Steve Groen, good to see you, young man. Always appreciate having you on with us, buddy.
Thanks for the invite. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be anywhere else on a Saturday.
God,
at 10
10
a.m.
at 10 a.m.
Who
Never.
would be anybody?
I was just,
If given the choice, yes, let's drive in and do a radio show.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, it's going to be a chilly weekend, but we're going to keep the show fun, lively, interactive. Questions, comments, thoughts, please don't hesitate to comment wherever you're joining us on social media. We like putting this out on all the favorite streams. Speaking of social media, before we start, did you hear about the TikTok ban? Is it going to go into effect, or is TikTok going to stay active? Is the government going to shut it down? China, what's going to happen?
I don't think they're going to shut it down. I mean, O'Leary and a group's trying to buy it. I think there's an offer on the table.
I think there's U.S. folks are trying to buy it.
Yeah, and O'Leary from the Shark, whatever it's
Shark
called.
Tank.
Shark Tank is,
Yeah.
is kind of heading it up. I think that's what's going to happen. I think you'd have a revolt. Already everybody's going over to what is it called, Redbook,
Yeah, there's
which is
another
also
one.
owned by China, and
Yeah.
it's blowing up because people don't care.
I saw an interesting post on Facebook, my Facebook, and it said the good news on the TikTok ban is there's a whole bunch of people in our generation never even learned how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we go, guys. We're going live on air. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. It is Saturday, January 19th, 2025. We are live down here at News Talk 830 WCCO for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Scott Wolmering, myself, Ryan O'Neill, and Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans. Scott and I with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, Remax Advantage Plus. We appreciate you joining us. This is a live and local real estate show. We're here from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts by text or phone, 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949 is how you can get us right in studio. Scott, top of the morning to you there, young man.
Beast, good. It's good to be here. We had a holiday, the Minnesota Real Estate Team holiday party last night that Ryan put on, and it was exceptional. Tons of people, lots of awards, and everybody shut it down around midnight. I, of course, cut out at about 10 o'clock, but Ryan closed it down.
Yeah, it was a fun night. We do every year. We want to, of course, celebrate all the folks that work with us, whether, staff members, obviously agents that work with the Minnesota Real Estate Team. It was fun, Scott. We were at the Minneapolis Golf Club. Great turnout, food, drink, lots of awards given out. You had a pretty snazzy suit on.
As you did as well. We've got that on Facebook, actually. It was a great event, and a lot of people won awards. A couple that stuck out to me was Paulo.
Yeah, Paulo Mora.
Paulo Mora did 54 home sales. And
Yes.
for those of us that have been in the business for as long as I have been, that is a clip. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a very, very very good year for Paulo. And then the agents of the year, that was touching.
Yeah, Angie and Jordan Savageau won the Agent of the Year, which is all the members of the team vote for that person. Just a remarkable year. I think they sold, I forget,
I think it was 23 million.
$23 million in real estate sales. And I still remember when Angie joined the team, and just very hardworking, eager, really great-hearted people. So just so many great awards last night, and
Who won most improved?
a fun time, super fun time.
Who won most improved?
Most improved, we do an award, actually we call the Breakout Sales Award, which was won by a wonderful gal named Zamira Selyakov. She was a full-time nurse and kind of part-time agent. She got, by the way, five kids, 5 boys. So Zamira worked about 6 months into the year. She called me up, said, I'm going full-time into real estate. In 6 months, I think she sold 17 homes and like 5 million in sales with 5 boys,
That's right.
young boys.
And newer to the business.
Yeah.
So what's the key to someone like that success? Like, what's the magic?
Well, I mean, I've said this for years and years and years and years. A love of people and love of the business, I think, is the number one thing. I mean, I see it in Angie Savageau. She reminds me of me 20 years. She just lives and breathes it. She loves it, and her clients can feel that. You can't fake it. It's either sincere, people understand that, and then just diligence. You know, it's like anything else. You got to love what you're doing, and then you have to be consistent in what you do. And if you are, you'll reap the benefits. So I think that the other one that I was impressed with was Anthony Duran, Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year.
And English is a second language.
Yeah.
And to get out there and hit it like he had, and he wanted to win. He said he wanted to win the Rookie of the Year, and he did.
Yeah, wanted to win it. A lot of times people that if you have friends, family, nieces, nephews, kids that, hey, I want to be a real estate agent. A lot of times people see, you see the TV shows, and I'll meet someone and they say, I love houses.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. But do you love people?
That's right.
That's what this job is. And that's the key. And there's a lot that can be taught to someone. There's some things that can't be taught. But this job is all about people. It's not about selling.
No.
It's not about how quickly can we get someone into a home. It's about building relationships with people, helping them. And I think that with the team, Scott, so many wonderful people last night. We think of all the really good folks, David Meyer, Heidi Youssef, all these folks, just kind-hearted people, good people, that take care of others.
Yeah, I mean, it's no hard. You can always look at if you look at the top sales in any business you're in, and then you go talk to those people. It's very, very clear why they're top. They have a intensity around what they're doing. They have a love around what they're doing. You can't fake it. Your clients feel it. You're not chasing money. Money will come, but that's not in any way your motivation.
Yeah.
And that's either real or it's not real. And your clients can feel it. If you're chasing a paycheck, get out of this business, because it is not the business for you.
One of the favorite things I like telling new agents, Steve, is, again, if your heart is not in the game, do what you want to do. Do you want to be a musician? Do you want to go work at Starbucks? Do you want to work for Standard Water Control? Go do what you want to do. I mean, it's the old adage of really do what you love, because with real estate, there's so much independence. And especially with a team like ours, we're not micromanaging and calling people and, hey, where are you today, Steve? Why didn't you come to training? Why aren't you taking the leads we're giving you? If your heart's not in the game, it's not gonna work.
Just a lot of people in life, they quit and stay wherever they are.
Yeah.
Right. They just don't want to move, and then it's hard. Right? They're not.
Well, yeah, and what Ryan just said, it sticks out. I've seen it through the years. The really cool thing about real estate is you have all the freedom in the world, and you can make as much money as you want to make. The really bad thing about real estate is you have all the freedom in the world, because nobody's. You don't have to be at work at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
No one's watching your time clock. You have all this freedom. But sometimes that's good for people and sometimes not so much.
Yeah, we're up again already, the first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Right after the break, we are going to dive in with an update, a real estate update with sales statistics here in the Twin Cities, mortgage rate updates, talking to our good friend, Mr. Steve Groen, Standard Water. you're always welcome to join our discussion here, 612-294-6949 at any point. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for so many folks joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Really good question too. It's funny, we don't talk a lot about the agent stuff.
Yeah.
But we could talk, obviously a long time about that because it is an interesting business,
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, I've been in sales my whole life, but real estate's not sales. I used to sell health club memberships.
Yeah.
That's sales. That's
Yeah.
closing.
Yeah.
I did a little stint where I would go out and talk.
Selling something they don't
That's-
totally need.
That's right. And I did a little stint for a couple of years where I'd go and talk to real estate agents at offices, and they would always ask, "Well, how do you close?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't. I show 5 homes or 10 homes or 15 homes until one makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I say, you might want to pay attention to this one because I didn't say pay attention to the other 14." So I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm trying to get them in the right house because eventually I have to sell it.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell it to them now. 3 years from now, they're going to call me. So they better have bought it right.
Well, the hard thing for agents too, Steve, is again, if you're juggling one ball, okay, you got one customer and you're thinking, okay, I got to pay my rent this month. I got to pay my cell phone bill. I got to put gas in my car. So naturally, if you got one person, you transfer some of that pressure, unknown onto the person. Kind of like, hey, Steve, what do you think of the house?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Versus if I've got 10 Steve Groans, then it's like, hey, dude, what do you think? Hey, I'm going to hold off for 6 months. No problem. Let's connect in 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's part of the art form with the job. That's hard, admittedly, but that's, it's not something we're selling.
No.
So that's a long answer to your question. Steve's
Well,
thinking.
Well, I've worked with technicians my whole life in a variety of different trades.
Yeah.
And consistently people I don't want to be a salesman. It's like, this is not sales if like it's plumbing or it's water conditioning or water, treatment or whatever, waterproofing.
Sure.
They call us, right? We didn't call them. We're in the home now. And we give them options. And it's
Yeah.
almost like if you go out to eat in a nice restaurant, you expect to pay,
Yeah.
right? And what's the first thing they say? Would you like something to drink? But if you say water, they don't go, huh, sure. Like, really? Like, we got a whole.
Let me give you a really good spritz
Hey,
water.
Yeah. Actually,
You look like-
sometimes though they do.
The spritz water. Yeah.
Sometimes, well, no, even that reaction about the water.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can see in the mind of the server, like, really? You're sitting down here at whatever, this nicer restaurant, and sometimes you can see that bulb. I've had that. But to your point, on the other hand, when they're like, oh, cool.
But you're here to help, educate. Sometimes when I'm out to eat, I'll say, okay, I don't want to know what's good on the menu. Tell me what not to get. And then they start laughing. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, everything's good. Or, okay, I would stay away from the salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is true though. I always tell new agents it's a needs analysis. You need to learn how to listen, so that you're not showing people things they don't want to see. You're not,
Yeah.
So it's just a needs analysis, and eventually that need gets filled, and they'll tell you. Everybody knows what they like.
To Scott's point, in this kind of market where it's a unique time with rates a little bit higher, obviously, low 7s, high 6s, limited inventory in a lot of cases for a lot of buyers. That's what makes this really unique, Steve, is that, you get a buyer, great, this is what we want to buy. It may not be out there. And so
For
that's
months.
Yeah, for months at a time. So that's a challenge too. Then you got to look through all these other avenues, door knocking, letters, all these other things. Here we go. We're going back live on air. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Love being on WCCO here. We are slowly waking up after the Minnesota Real Estate Team annual holiday party last night. Great to have so many good folks, a lot of great awards. Scott, and I did love that blue suit of yours, but that blue suit was a fun one.
I appreciate it. Like I said, I bring it out once a year.
Yeah.
Around the holidays, but yeah, it was fun. And you looked good in your red suit from your
Concerts.
Yeah, looked great.
The Christmas concerts. Hey, let's talk real estate numbers here. New listings in the Twin Cities down pretty significantly, Scott. A 19% drop in new listings year over year. Again, new homes for sale. Pending sales or accepted offers also down 10%, 426 pendings. The inventory slowly increasing a little bit, up 3% to 7,100 homes. Still just historically
Just
low,
horrible,
Scott. I mean,
yeah.
again, when as a kind of a casual follower of real estate, if you hear 7,100 homes, that is way, way low. A lot of buyers are not able to find what they want to buy right now, Scott. It's a crazy time.
It is. Well, I mean, I'll tell everybody personally, this last year was, in 27 years, was my lowest year ever. And, you know, you hear
For a lot of agents.
Yeah, for a lot of agents. But and people think, well, how could that be? This my neighbor's house sold in 2 days. My other neighbor's house had 5 offers on it, and that's true. But we have 7,100 homes. That is, I mean, 18,000's balanced. So 7,100 homes. There's just not as much to sell. So for a real estate agent that used to carry 10 or 20 listings because your time on market was maybe 2 or 3 months, now you carry 1 or none.
Yeah.
Because when you get one, it sells. And
Yeah.
so people go, oh my gosh, it's a great market, but not in overall volume. It's not. And so it's been an interesting 2 years. Actually, 23 and 24 were the worst 2 years, I think, in the last 40 years on total units sold.
Yeah, nationally.
Nationally, yeah.
Yeah, in a lot of the, it was funny, even last night at the party, you know, again, we're big believers in just having a little bit of fun and celebrating success. But I mean, again, the last 2 years in the United States, the real estate market it was the worst 2 years in closed number of units.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's only so much you can do with what you got, you know, with inventory rates. And by the way, Mike Overson, Illuminate Home Loans, Mike is our longtime partner with the team in the show. He was there last night. He's a snazzy dresser. That guy, everybody loves Mike. I joked last night when we do our social media, when it's just Scott and I, Steve, you know, we get just a few people that will watch. But once we get Mike on, the listenership just, I mean.
Oh, the viewership.
The viewership cranks through the roof.
Women between 23 and 45, it goes through the roof.
They have enough of us.
Yes.
They have enough. They say
23 and 70.
that,
23 and 75,
they keep clicking through when they see us. But anyway, with Mike and again, interest rate update, they're in the low sevens.
Yeah.
They've gone down a little bit in the last couple weeks, but it's a unique time because you think about it again, costs at the 7% with the average sales price in the Twin Cities, $375, $380, Scott. A lot of young people are not buying homes. They can't afford it. And rents are crazy high. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I don't have a lot of thoughts on that. It's going to be in the sevens pretty much all year. Maybe drops a little bit in the sixes. You can feel it. Your first number that you talked about is we have 19% less listings going on this week that we had last week at this time.
Yeah.
Well, folks, this is January, the middle of January. We should be going the other direction. We should be climbing. We should be 3, 4, 5% above in a market where we're going to get more homes on the market. So when we've already settled in that, you know, and Mike agrees, you know, we're looking at 6.5 to 7% interest rate. If we jumped into the fives, it would be incredible, but no one really thinks that's going to happen. You got to remember that I know Mr. Trump said he's going to lower housing costs. He has no control over that. He's going to lower interest rates, housing interest rates. He has no control over that either. Those are market conditions. And when you have 7,100 homes on the market, I can tell you home prices are not going down.
Yeah.
And when you don't have control of interest rates because it's market driven, we're going to be looking at that 6.5 to 7% rate. And you're going to need to kind of settle in that's what you're going to deal with.
One thing I would encourage, if you are in the market and thinking about buying in the next year or two, you really should work with an agent who is going to look through all avenues to find that home for sale. What's standard is normal. We all as agents have access to the MLS, which is a paid service where we see all the listings on there. But really, you know, I think about Angie and Jordan last night, who won Agent of the Year. Angie is a big door knocker. She will door knock on people's homes, properties that are not for sale. She will send out a lot of letters to folks, properties that are not for sale. She will network with a lot of other top agents at other companies that carry a lot of listings, some MLS, some not MLS. You need a go-getter like that to find the property because, again, with such limited inventory, if you don't have someone pounding the pavement, Scott, it could be tough to find it.
Shouldn't the first thing someone do is go find out what they qualify for, do the math.
Yeah.
and Big round numbers. If you're looking for, what's the average price, 440?
380, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's say they end up getting an actual loan post down payment of 400 at 7.25. I know it differs by
Mhm.
taxes and all, but what's a monthly payment on something?
Let me see, I can do it easier this way. So 400 at 7% is a
I mean, no
payment.
pressure,
Yeah,
Scott.
is a payment factor. So that would be, that'd be $2,800-ish on your principal and interest. Call taxes $350, so that's 32. Plus your
It's a
insurance,
lot.
insurances, you're 3,700 bucks.
That is a chunk,
That's chunk.
especially new people starting
Yeah.
out or.
And that's your entry point. 400 grand is your entry point now for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, and so that's what's hard about, I think, for a lot of younger folks, maybe that are living with mom and dad still, that have been working for a few years, trying to pay off some college debt, do different things, trying to help people get into the market. And I think what's hard, Scott, to your point, sometimes people say, well, Ryan, prices are going to go down. And I hate to say it, but I do not believe prices are going to go down. Now, granted, there are some listings, guys, in the market that are not selling. So other agents, brokers may be listening saying, well, hey, I'm not getting any activity on my house for sale. Well, it is always price related. You know, it is. So you could be 50, you could be 25, you could be 100 grand too high. Buyers are not dumb. They're going to look and they're not going to overpay on stuff. And so we're seeing some overpriced stuff sit.
Well, and that's the Minnesota nice people that people need to understand. I hear this a lot by sellers. Well, why don't they write an offer? And I'm like, well, they'll write an offer, but you have to be in range. You know, if you look at the average list price to sale price, eventually when you get to a price reduction, normally that sale occurs within about 30 days. So people always say, well, my house sat for 6 months. It's that market. No, it's not. Because when you've got it within range, it's sold immediately. You're just not in range. I think it's 99.2% of eventual list price is where the sale is. So what that shows you is if you're listed at 400 and you're worth 325, you're not getting an offer.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota nice people don't do it. It's going to be offensive, and you're not even in the range. I mean, for what somebody wants for 400, your house doesn't even. It's not even it. So so they're not going to write because they want to buy a 400 house. That's what they're looking at. And they look at yours and you're a 325 house. So it's not that they couldn't write an offer. They don't want to because they don't want a 325 house.
Yeah.
Aren't there people sitting around too, just hoping the interest rates go down, but that's just gonna make prices go up too.
That's right.
Yeah. And
You can't really win.
well, and I think Steve probably, you know, as Mike would say that rates probably at some point will come down
Sure.
a little bit. You know, maybe it's somewhere in the 6s. But I just think waiting for something else is it just doesn't make sense. You know, because again, right now, you know what you're competing with, what's out there from
Yeah.
the market
So let's go along your line. Let's go along your line of thinking. So I can buy a house right now. Let's just call it. Let's say rates go up at 7.5%, and I can buy a house right now for. We'll use that 400 number for 400 grand. Okay. So I buy the house at 400 grand at 7.5%. Now rates drop to 3.5%. We have another COVID outbreak. Rates drop to 3.5%. That house goes to 500. My payment's lower. Great. I was paying 400. Now I have to pay 500 to get it, but my payment's lower. But you just bought a property for 500 that is only worth 4. So yeah, you got a better payment, but you're not going to do well. So you're way better off buying at 7-ish. And then yes, maybe it costs you another 3 grand a year for 2 years. And then rates drop into the 5s or drop into the 4s, 3 years from now, 4 years. Then you renegotiate. Now you've bought a property that's worth what you bought it for, and now you have a payment that's for it.
Hey, we're at the halfway point of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Before the break, want to touch on a listing. Deb Lazinski, great agent on the Minnesota Real Estate team, has got one in West St. Paul, 1016 Cruz Street for $280,000. It is a 3-bed, 1 full bathroom home. It's updated. They've got a new roof in 2022, newer furnace and AC this past year, a large, fully fenced in backyard. And she said the home is comfortable and bright, lots of natural sunlight, beautiful hardwood floors throughout. Again, that's $280,000 for a very nice home in West St. Paul, 1016 Cruz Street. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks everybody for joining us. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the discussion. lot going on. How was your year, Steve? Was your year like the real estate markets? Was it down, or did you have a?
Oh, ridiculous. It was the best year I can remember.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Everything was just off the charts. We
Oh my gosh,
we blew
Steve.
it. We blew it out. It was nuts.
Really?
Radon sales are crazy. Oh yeah, that rain that came in this.
I was gonna say, with
Yeah,
all the rain, yeah.
like running 100 buffalo off the cliff. You know, I mean, that was just like.
I do have to give a shout out. Steve's company did just a super nice job. We've had water issues in our house, and they diagnosed it. You had a few different guys come out, really did a nice job on that. Steve came out, your guy really just fixed the issue. And that's been ongoing for years. Finally, we kind of pulled the trigger, and it was very reasonable cost-wise. I mean, sometimes people think, you got to remortgage the house to pay for something like that, but you guys really did a nice job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
I was
it.
impressed,
Yeah.
very impressed with.
And
the whole crew.
Scott here sends us radon leads all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting with radon because that's a newer thing.
Oh,
Again,
and I'm not a radon guy.
yeah, radon.
I know it's a dangerous gas.
Yeah.
I just always like, if radon's gonna kill me, get in line.
Well, it's again townhomes. Steve, is it are you seeing it a lot on townhomes or mostly single families? Or tell me where are you seeing on most of the systems?
Well, the radon levels in the ground they vary. They're
Yeah.
different. So that's
Literally house to house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, you can't. And then and you could have radon in ridiculous levels in the dirt, but it might not have a way to get in the house.
Yeah.
Because if the home has more positive pressure, it can't pull the radon in. And the other thing, if it's properly really sealed up well, it doesn't have a way to get in.
Okay.
So, but it's kind of like mice that get in homes; they don't need much of a hole. Right?
Yeah.
So you just bottom line is people need to have it tested. In Minnesota, 4 out of 10 homes have radon levels that are too high by the EPA standards.
Yep.
4 out of 10 is significant.
What's interesting, Scott, is again, in the home inspection in Minnesota, the process, radon testing is not required, much like sewer testing, but it's become more common. Both have become much more common. I think of the first 10 years in the industry, nobody did anything with radon that I remember. No one did anything with sewer scoping. Now, almost every deal.
Yeah, it came out, and I'm so bad with time, but you're probably right. It was probably 10, 12 years ago, where literally there were no radon. I mean, you would have radon tests on relocation buyers because it was part of their contract to have a radon test. Outside of that, you never saw it done. Then a big thing came out in the Star Tribune, and they talked about the dangerous levels of radon and so on. And then all of a sudden, it just became, I would say, on 80% of all inspections are now asking for radon.
Yeah. We're going back live on air on the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Appreciate you guys and gals. Hope your weekend's going well. Here we go. Welcome back to the second half of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. I hope you and your families are having a good weekend. It's a chilly one here, though our Vikings are no longer around to watch this weekend. This is arguably the best weekend in football. And by the way, Scott, Notre Dame is playing on Monday night,
Yes.
National Championship. Maybe I can call the brother, Tim, or one of my brothers, Tom, Dan, and fly down there to watch the game.
I'll tell you what, I've jumped on the Notre Dame bandwagon because
Yeah.
my friend here is a what do you call it, alumni,
Yeah,
and they're a good team. They're fun to watch. It's gonna be a good one.
yeah, big one coming up. This is the big NFL weekend, the big fun one. Hey, before we dive back in with Steve Grown here, I did want to touch on one other listing, Fong Cow. By the way, Fong last night, 20 years on the
team.
Minnesota real estate team.
It's got to be Kevin Curtis too, isn't it?
Yeah, Kevin is right about 20 as well. But what was cool is Fong was originally a client of mine. He bought like 4 or 5 rental properties in Bloomington. I was his agent, and then he became an agent. Wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Great agent, sells a ton, but 20 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, it's interesting, and this will be the only cheap plug that I give you. But if anybody's listened to the show for 20 years, in my younger years, I had a very large team. Ryan used to work on it, broke off on his own, and we ran a very good team. We were top 50 in the United States, all that kind of stuff. Nothing I provided is even close to what my friend here provides. The only reason I'm saying that, so if you are an agent out there that's struggling, or you're getting into the business, trust me when I tell you to reach out to Ryan. It's the best place you could possibly go. Truly it is. I mean, I wouldn't say that it wasn't.
I appreciate it, man. No, it's a great group, really good group. And Mr. Fong, I did want to give a shout out on his listing over in Woodbury, 11327 Brookview Road in Woodbury, listed for $425,425. It is a newer townhome, lots of modern features, quartz countertops in the open kitchen. It's got very sleek white maple cabinets. Great family room, a cozy gas fireplace. Upper level, Scott has a spacious owner's suite, large walk-in closet, tiled shower, and Fong says enjoy grilling in the patio. The backyard's very private. A very new listing came on 11327 Brookview Road, Woodbury, Steve, for $425,425 over there. What do you think about that, bud?
Sounds like a heck of a deal.
Yeah, a good one and good one.
I've got a quick Fong story. I'll make it very quick.
Yeah.
So the first time I had met Fong, I was actually doing a presentation in Bloomington. I don't remember what it was on, but it was real estate related. And Fong was in the audience. And after it was done, he walked up to me and he said, "You talk too much. You don't." He said, "You talk too much. You don't listen enough." And he said, "That's my feedback." And I said, "Well, I appreciate that, Fong. I will make sure I correct that." He said, "You talk too much and you don't listen enough."
What I love about that, though, over the years with our training and stuff that we do for team members, is I'll always ask him for honest feedback. And there's been times he said, "Hey, Ryan, this wasn't my favorite, or this was not," and I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of just saying, "Hey, Steve, you were wonderful today on the show," versus you're thinking, "God, that was terrible."
I have feedback.
Hey, Steve Groden is with Standard Water, and again, I was mentioning off air, a client of theirs this year. We've had water in our basement, like many of you. Probably you and your team did a wonderful job. Came out, you diagnosed the issue. We haven't been able to figure it out for a long time. You guys, after 2-3 appointments, came out, fixed it, very reasonable cost-wise. A lot of times people think, "Steve, you're going to have to break the bank to do this," but you guys really did a nice job.
Well, thank you. A lot of times you walk around a basement, you see, effervescence, that stuff that comes from moisture on the sides of that can be indicative of an issue, or mold, or just plain old water in the corners. And that's the sort of stuff we fix. Or you go into a basement, you get that icky smell. We can help get rid of that icky smell, with a variety of methods. But certainly this last year was a ridiculous, off the chart, just amazing year. We had so much business. It was just crazy. And I was really fortunate on a number of fronts. One is we were able to hire. Why last year was different, I don't know. We hired so many new employees who were just amazing.
Really?
And and I've struggled in the past, honestly, to hire people that want to get in the trades and want to do heavy lifting. A lot of people want to sit on the couch and use their iPhone. I don't have that job, right? They actually got to work. It's heavy lifting. It's outside. But wow, we hired at least 10 guys who were just amazing, and we kept them all too. And that paired with our veteran crew, my top 10 employees, and we only have 30 at our company, my top 10 most tenured guys have been with us over 22 years on average.
That's crazy.
And, if you want to have fun in business, you got to have just great people who get it done every single day.
So someone coming out, these folks that you hired, what is a starting wage, for someone? And do you need background, or how does that work? I'm just thinking about that, looking for a job.
Question. Yeah, I start my guys at $22 an hour.
Okay.
And it's fabulous working conditions or compensation, because we pay them, they come to our shop and they get paid to ride to the job site, wherever that is. Could be in Hudson, could be in Shakopee, a lot of work in Minneapolis and St. Paul, of course. They get a paid lunch and they get paid to ride back to the shop. So it is heavy lifting, but they also are compensated very well for their time. So they get time and a half over 40, and they're consistently getting their hours all year long. And along with it, we've got the 3% 401k, PTO, paid holidays, and I pay for 95% of their health care.
Oh, wow.
Really, it's a Cadillac plan with a $500 deductible. The guys who've been around, they understand or start looking at it, and I pay 50% of the family.
Okay.
So from a benefit standpoint,
that's a really good
package. But you gotta got to pay to play, right? You want good people, you want them to stay with you, you got to pay them.
We were
You have to pay them.
Ryan and I were literally just having this conversation the other night. We have a friend that, or not really a friend, somebody that we know.
Yeah.
And anyways, we're having a discussion about just taking care of your people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I've had 3 assistants in 27 years. And, you know, and there are people out there that have had 25 assistants in 8 years. You know, they just burn through whatever staff person they're talking about. And it's very, very hard to come across somebody that is loyal, works hard, loves your business, wants to participate in it. And yeah, you just take care of your people, you know, and they'll stay.
Like my employees, I'll give them the shirt off my back, like literally, but they're also people who produce and get it done. And you see the narcissism level in our younger generations is higher. Those people don't make it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is within the own crew, and I tell people to start, hey, if you like to call in sick, you like to come in late, my own crews will spit you out and remove you quickly. Like you actually have, I'm not talking normal sickness, right? But if you're the person who likes to call off on Mondays, you get away with that about once.
Yeah.
My own crews will spit them out.
Yeah.
Because it's a team.
Sure.
Everyone's got to
Yeah, they're affected by it.
Yeah, it's like the military. Yeah, everyone actually has to show up and do their job.
Hopefully in the United States, we'll start to see more of a resurgence from, you know, as kids are going through high school, the feeling of meaningful work, doing the things you're describing. I think, again, we can all probably admit over the last 20, 30 years, there was sort of this artificial pressure. We all got to go to some 4-year place. We all got to get some highfalutin degree. And the reality of it, you see a lot of really good people that right when they're 18, they find a good profession. They find something that they can invest their time, their energy. They make a good income. They start a family. You know, those are the types of things that I just think, I don't know, it's interesting our society puts so much pressure on college. And obviously I was grateful. My, you know, mother and father were super generous in paying for college. But I don't know. I just see so many good young people that I'd love to have them go work at a company like yours. And they're starting to save some money and maybe buy a house in their 20s. And maybe, you know what I mean? That's what we want. That's what we need.
Well, any financial analyst, they will today. This wasn't the case 20 years ago, but today they will say, if you want to set yourself up financially, go into the trades.
Yeah.
Because it's very short. You're not going 300 grand in debt to go to college, and you get out there and your income is great. It's always going to be there. If you want to get educated, you go to college. I mean, there's definitely a place for it, but the idea that you go to college to get a job, I mean, it's correct in certain areas of what you went into, but
medical,
yes, or engineering,
nursing,
yes, exactly,
absolutely.
But for the most part, there are a lot of really good 18-month programs that you can get into all kind of facets of business, all kind of facets of the trade, and you start making money right away. And I've always said to like my youngest son, Aiden, he said, money cures a lot of things. So you want to eventually open your own business, you gotta have money to do that.
Yeah.
You want to do this, you gotta have money to do that.
Yeah.
And so, start earning an income, and then, you're only 21. By the time you're 25, 27, all kinds of things will open up.
And it's not just what you make, it's what you save. So all new employees that come in, and even current employees, I do some math with them once a year. They almost all participate in my 401k. I do 3% match. They put in 6, they put in 3. Really round quick numbers. Let's say someone's making 60 grand, floor, that's where they kind of come in at. Let's say round numbers for the year. Let's say they put away 10%, that's 6 grand. We'll just say they only do that for 1 year. That's it. They quit. Then there's something called the power of 72. Your money doubles every 7 points.
Yeah.
So you divide, let's say the interest rate's 10%. So that means it's going to double every 7 years. Well, that 6 grand is going to double 6 times. But if they're 22, 29, do that math. So that $6,000 turns in that first year is going to double to 12 and just keep going. And I walk them through the math. They will be millionaires if they do that consistently and just hang in there.
Yeah.
And a young man, his name's, I won't say his name. He's had a rough life, went through this. He took it to heart. In just a matter of a few years, he's got over 30 grand put away.
Wonderful.
Yeah, good for him.
He's on his way.
Yeah. We're up against our final break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Again, Scott Wolmering, Steve Groen. We appreciate you joining us. Hope your weekend's going well. You're welcome to join us anytime throughout the week, 612-294-6949. Wherever you're listening to this show, we have a top agent on the Minnesota real estate team that would be honored to help you and your family buying, selling, investing in real estate. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Yeah, good points. Really good stuff. Steve, what a great crew though. 30 people. I mean, 30 plus employees. And especially, I thought you were joking when you said you had a busy year, because real estate, it's been kind of a joke. It's just been such a downtime for our industry.
Yeah, our rate on sales are up in general year over year. And we didn't push it as hard because we had to take care of all the waterproofing. The waterproofing
That's your
was
business, yeah.
absolutely crazy. So yeah, it was a ridiculous year. And the other thing is we started to do basement, like foundation piering, helical piers, push piers, where we lift basements up.
Oh, sure.
And so our foundation repair doubled in sales, and that'll just keep popping.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just amazing. So it was a really, really good year.
Scott, do you think spring market, real estate wise, what are you envisioning for the spring market here? Buyers, sellers, agents?
You know, if you would ask me that 3 weeks ago, when I thought rates were going to drop into the low sixes or high fives, I would have said we're going to be in a basically a duplicate of the last 2 years, where it's going to be a race to the finish line and get your offers in, because there's 15 offers. Now seeing the numbers being down 19% new listings this week, you know, year over year, I'll tell you what, everything is so interest rate driven. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a spring market, and we only have 7,100 homes, so there's going to be price ranges that are crazy in areas that are crazy. You have to go out. You know, there's 20 offers on it. There will be that.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to feel the same as it did in 2022, for example, when rates were at 3%, obviously, or even last year when they dropped into the low sixes. We had that run where everything went to multiples. If it stays around 7, I mean, you eliminate a lot of the market. You eliminate a lot of buyers that it's not that they couldn't afford the payment, but like when you would ask me what 400, I'm like, $700. You're like, oh my God. Well, that's what buyers are doing. They're like, I don't want that payment.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily even want that house for 400 grand. You know, I like the one at 500 at 5%, not the one at 4 at 7. So it's going to be a busy market, but unless interest rates settle, it's going to be it's not going to blow up.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting year for sure. Steve, before I forget too, best way for people to reach out to Standard Water, you and your great team.
Service at Standard Water is our company email, but just the website, standardwater.com. You can fill out a form. My name's Steve Grohn, Grohn, is a neighbor. You can find me on LinkedIn. Message me that way.
You are a LinkedIn guy.
Yep.
You like
There's
LinkedIn.
a bunch of agents that contact me. That's like you mentioned, Heidi. She's amazing. Talked to her a bunch of times. So a lot of conversations with your people.
Yeah.
And helping them out or answering questions that they have to help deals go through.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting market for sure. Before we know it, the days are getting longer already, guys. You can feel it.
Yeah. It's nice.
Here we go. Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Couple other listings we wanted to hit. This one is in May Township. Deb Lazinski has also got a nice one. This is a 6+ acre parcel on Morgan Avenue North for $330,000. And it's, Deb says, surrounded by numerous lakes. There's outdoor activities at your doorstep. It's a Stillwater School District. It's got an open builder. You can bring in any builder. There's no HOA or restricted covenants. Again, 6+ acres in the Stillwater School District on Morgan Avenue North for $330,000. Really nice property. Scott, the last one is Mr. John Love. John's a great guy, friend down in New Prague, 212 8th Street Southeast in New Prague. This is listed for $425,000. It's a 2-story home. It's a great neighborhood. It's got golf course views, remodeled kitchen, custom cabinets, granite countertops. You got 4 bedrooms on one level. You got the owner's suite having 2 walk-in closets. It's got a very nice family room with built-in entertainment center, and then an unfinished basement ready for your ideas. They put in a new roof in 2024, and it's a 1-owner home, Scott. 212 8th Street Southeast for $425,000. They are longtime family friends of mine too. Really good people.
Very nice. You know, before we get into the wrap up of the show here, I know we hit your numbers, Steve, on the break for the Facebook Live people. Maybe the radio listeners, best way to get in touch with you.
Oh, standardwater.com website. You can send an email to service@standardwater. Find me on LinkedIn. And, you ever send emails into companies and no one responds?
Yes.
That's not us.
Yeah.
Like, I have office people that are on it.
I'm impressed with that. That is good.
Yeah. No, they're absolutely on it. So, but yeah, standardwire.com. Just go there and fill out a form or call us off the number off the website. Yeah, I funnel everything at the website. So
Yeah, really good stuff too. If you check out their reviews, a lot of really good reviews you guys got. Super impressive. Scott, he's always Steve's a pleasure to work with his team.
Yeah, when you say the email thing, it's we're out of the same cloth. I was on an email chain once with a builder that I represented, and a question would come in from a client.
Yeah.
9 a.m, and I'm on this email chain. Now it's noon. Now it's 1. Now it's 4. And so then I couldn't handle it. Hey, the guys are in the field, but we'll get back to you. And he'd be like, quit responding to them. We've told them, what's happening. I'm like, then get me off the chain. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't watch this email sit for 3 days not being responded to.
I think the big word I always like to think about with that, Steve, is it shows courtesy to the other person. Even if you're busy. Hey, I'm tied up. You know what? I've got 3 meetings today. I'll be able to get back to you tomorrow morning. Something, just an acknowledgement.
Silence is a killer.
Yeah, an acknowledgement of it. And I think, again, service industry, any type of service industry, real estate is the same way. You need to do that. Your very good agents are going to be doing that. Communication is critical with this job.
Well, and texting obviously is just off the chart. I actually quit leaving voicemails here a few years ago. No one listens to them anymore, so I just text them.
Yeah.
And that seems to work out. I have a daughter, she's 22, and she got her phone way back in junior high. She never did set her voicemail up. So, Kara, how can you never set your voicemail up? Why would I do that?
I left my oldest daughter a voicemail when she called. She's like, what are you, 80?
I love voicemail.
She was like, what is this? She's like,
I love
voicemail from you. She's like, what are you, 80 years old? I can see you called.
Hey, here's a quick tip though. Again, if you are a buyer or seller in this market, be sure your agent is picking up the good old fashioned telephone.
Yes.
Because in this market, you do need to speak to the other agent by phone. You need to call. You need to let them know about your offer. You need to have communication. It's so critical. When I look at our top agents from the holiday party last night, top 20 agents, they all use the phone daily. It's so important. Again, just to call up, say, hey, Scott, just sent you an offer on your listing on Javelin. Here are some of the details, A lot of agents don't do that.
No.
They'll email you.
You would be,
or they won't do anything.
Yeah,
how are you representing your customer?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I'll have 15 offers on a property, and 7 will reach out to me. The rest will just send over their offer.
Just send it by email.
Just send it by email.
Hopefully you get it.
I know nothing about them. I know nothing about their lender. I know nothing about their buyer. It is just a bad way to do business. The other side of that, which I always tell clients also, if you don't like the agent that you're interviewing, other agents don't like them either. And so when you're having that meeting, I swear to God, when you're having that meeting and they walk out and you're like, oh my God, I cannot stand that person, don't hire them.
Yeah.
Because nobody else likes them either. And they're going to, but my point is, if I have 3 even offers and Ryan O'Neill's writing one of them and I don't like Ryan O'Neill,
Yeah.
I'm not going with his offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure.
What if someone picks an agent and then, they decide they don't like him? How easy is it to get out?
Depends on the agent. For me personally, if you want to fire me, I'd be so devastated that you're firing me that I would be just like, hey, we'll part company. Some agents will stick you to the contract. Say, nope, we're on a 6-month contract and you can't fire me.
Yeah, it is a business based upon goodwill. If you lose goodwill with the person, hurts your business in many ways.
Yeah.
And so I'm the same way. We are the same way. Steve Groen, great job today, buddy.
Well, thank you. It's always fun being here.
Yeah, Steve Groen, wonderful guy. I encourage you to reach out. Standard Water, they do an awesome job. Scott, great job. Last thoughts?
Yeah, last thoughts for everybody. I think just, pay attention to post, whatever you want to call it, post-Trumpism in the first couple 3 weeks. I think that's going to be an indication to what is possibly going to happen real estate wise, because there are some other factors that can make it better, just not the interest rate. So let's pay attention to what happens maybe the next month.
Yeah, again, congratulations to everybody last night from the Minnesota real estate team, the holiday party. Especially thank you to all of our wonderful clients. We're grateful for you, radio listeners here at WCCO. It was a fun time. We're looking forward to a great 2025. please don't hesitate to reach out. Our team is here to help you and do our best. Enjoy this weekend ahead, everybody. Take care. It was a fun show. Thank you for so many of you watching the whole hour. We really appreciate it. Steve, good job, buddy. Are you doing one of your CrossFit things coming up?
I'm doing some competitions this year. So we have the Open starting next month, and then it'll be semifinals, and I'm gonna do some other competitions.
This guy's is it CrossFit, right?
It's CrossFit.
He's a hardcore. Scott, could you do CrossFit?
No,
Why not?
it's a real workout. I call my workouts vanity workouts. I don't sweat.
Okay.
So if I do something, that
So
makes
you're
me-
just lifting?
It's just lifting. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just lifting.
To build muscle mass.
Correct. He is active. That is I wouldn't make it 5 minutes through a CrossFit workout.
Yeah, it's fun. You always learn. You always learn new skills, walking on your hands, things like that.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to be back next weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Stay warm, everybody. I think it's going to be crazy cold, but it's a fun football.
Yes,
football
fun.
weekend.
Can't wait.
Just real quick before we leave predictions, Scott, you got Houston and Kansas City.
Houston, Kansas City. I actually am picking the upset. I think Houston's going to beat Kansas City.
How about
Because their defense. I think that the Ravens are going to beat Buffalo.
Ravens and the Bills?
I think that
Detroit and
Detroit,
the Rams? No, Detroit and
Washington.
Washington.
You gotta go to Detroit.
Detroit. I want Detroit to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've never done it.
Philly and
Philly.
the Rams.
I don't care who they're playing. Philly. Yeah. Philly's going to be there.
Fun weekend. Hey, it's my niece Bridget's birthday. We're having a little birthday party. Happy birthday, Bridget. We're going to have some fun today. So thanks,